Today's video is going to tell you how to get more villagers in Animal Crossing New Horizons, but more importantly, how you can actually have a say in which villagers they are. People of the internet, RetroRaconteur here, and we're back with another Animal Crossing New Horizons video. Today is all about villager recruitment, and we're getting started right now. So maybe you're new to the Animal Crossing series, or you're early in the game and find yourself wondering how you turn your quiet island into a busy town with multiple villagers. And even if you aren't new to the series, things are a little bit different for New Horizons than previous Animal Crossing games. The changes are definitely for the better though, as now you'll actually have a role to play in which specific villagers move to your island, if you want to, that is. In previous Animal Crossing games, the villager move-in process was purely random. Having as many villagers as possible is also a great way to improve your island's star ranking. Now go ahead and leave me a comment down below and let me know which villager you'd love to have on your island. So how are things different with New Horizons as opposed to previous Animal Crossing games? To start, you'll have 2 villagers randomly assigned to your island when you first start the game. From here on out though, you can actually recruit new villagers to move to your island. Don't get in too big of a rush if you're just starting out. In order to recruit villagers, you'll want to progress naturally through the game by checking in with Tom Nook frequently to see what you can do next. Sometime after you've built Nook's Granny, Nook will ask you to build and help furnish houses for new villagers. You get to decide where these houses will go, and you can put them anywhere on your map, but you may want to start thinking about how you want to organize your neighborhoods and if you want to have any themed areas. You'll place the furniture outside and near the house. Don't worry about this one too much, as you can easily remove the furniture later on. Houses can be moved later on as well, but it'll cost you and take a full day of in-game time to make it happen. Now here's where you have a decision to make. If you just want the villagers and don't really care about who they are, then go ahead and place the plot of land, place your furniture, and check in with Nook once again. At this point, you'll notice a sold sign on the plot of land, and you should be able to see the name of the incoming villager. You can do this 2 more times for a total of 3 new villagers, which will give you 5 total on your island for now. But if you'd like to have a say on who moves to your island instead of letting fate decide, you'll need some Nook Miles tickets. You can purchase these from the kiosk at Resident Services. You'll also need to do this before you place a new housing plot. Once you get your hands on some Nook Miles tickets, head on over to your airport and tell Orville you'd like to visit an island using a Nook Miles ticket. Once you arrive at that island, look around and you should eventually spot a villager. Feel free to talk to them and decide if it's someone you'd like to have on your island. If you want them to move in, keep talking to them until you hit a point in the conversation where they ask about moving to your island. Once you convince them to move, then you're ready to head back to your own island and prepare their housing plot. Again, you can do this until you have a total of 5 villagers on your island. Once you have 5 villagers though, things will change slightly. You'll need to talk to Nook and choose the Let's Talk Infrastructure dialogue option. From there, you can get new housing plots for 10,000 bells. And by the way, you can have a total of 10 villagers on your island, and that does not include human players. As a general rule of thumb, you'll still want to make sure you don't place the housing plots until you found a villager who wants to move in. Of course, if you're fine with it being a random villager, then you can place the housing plots at any time. Now, of course, you can keep visiting islands and recruiting villagers that way if you want, but that's not the only way to get villagers. After you upgrade resident services from a tent to a physical building, you'll now have another method of recruiting villagers, your campsite. Nook will ask you to place the campsite after you've upgraded resident services. The first day after you place that campsite, you'll have a villager show up there. Now, kind of bad news here, this villager is guaranteed to move to your island no matter what you do, what you say to him. That first camper will always move to your island. Now, after that first campsite villager, you will continue to get visitors at that campsite. The day will be random, but Isabelle will always announce when you have a camper as soon as you fire up your game for the first time. Now, these villagers are not guaranteed to move into your island. You actually have a say in it. If you talk to a camper and they seem like a villager you'd like to have move to your island, keep talking to them until you have a chance to recruit them to your island. Usually the campers will have you play a little game or do an errand before they'll actually agree to move in. Now, another thing when you upgrade resident services, Nook will also mention the ability to scan Animal Crossing Amiibo Cards to recruit villagers. Unfortunately, these Amiibo cards were actually made back in 2016 and are now out of print. Of course, you can find used ones online, but usually the prices aren't so great, especially for the more popular villagers. I've heard of some folks having good luck buying these on Etsy, but again, just make sure you're careful here and that the cards are in fact legitimate, and of course that you're not paying some astronomical price. If you do happen to come across some Amiibo cards, you can find that option at the Nook stop in Resident Services. You'll want to choose Invite Amiibo Camper from the menu, scan your Amiibo card, and then select Yes to continue. The character will appear on screen, and now you can invite them to stay at your campsite. If you don't have anyone currently visiting your campsite, the Amiibo villager will appear immediately. Now, don't worry if you do already have a camper there, because then the Amiibo camper will just show up the next day. From here, check in with them at the campsite just like you would any other camper. With this villager though, you'll likely be asked to complete a series of tasks using DIY recipes to craft certain items for them. The good news is if you don't have the DIY recipe, they'll give you the recipe for free. With an Amiibo campsite visitor though, you likely won't be able to convince them to stay after just one visit. Unlike the regular visitors, it may take repeat visits for them to agree. Your persistence will eventually pay off though, and they'll decide to move in. When they do, check in with Nook once again about your island's infrastructure and get a new plot of land ready to go. Believe it or not, there's actually one more way to recruit villagers to your island, although this one requires coordination with another human player. You see, anytime a villager plans to move away from an island, they'll take a full day to pack up. If you can work it out with a friend to visit their island while one of their villagers is in this position, you'll have the option of talking to the on-the-move villager and recruit them to your island instead. Whew, that's a lot. And while some of this is certainly tedious, it's nice to know Nintendo is giving us more options than before when it comes to picking our villagers, again, even if it is a bit tedious. Don't forget you have a maximum of 10 villager slots, and you can also use the Nook Miles Island method at any point when you are under 10 villagers. Now, if you found something valuable in this video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more Animal Crossing videos like this, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching.